Morning, Terror. How'd you sleep? It is pretty grim looking out here. It's like dark and rainy. Good. What's on plan for today? Sorry. Tell you in one sec. Oh, that stinks. Well, it seems like the weather's not any better in SoCal. So what's on plan for today? We're gonna do part of the project that I made for myself was not just doing figures, like free floating figures, but also compositional cropped ones too, so I could get more sensitive to composition. So we haven't done like basically any of those. I think they're probably more boring for stream, you know, but like making thumbnails. And then drawing figures inside of it. And you know, the thumbnails can be any size. I'll be working with the male figures today, so we'll do something like this. Been doing 2-minute figures. Nice. So kind of like this. We're gonna try to compose this space. Which, you know, I'm not as familiar with, but we gotta get used to breaking up the space, compositional space, because no matter what you're doing, the most important thing is presentation, which typically is composition. If you have a free floating pose, you're dealing with just the composition of that pose. So you're gonna have to look at, you know, the rhythm and everything, because it's free floating, it's not cropped. And then when it's cropped like this, which is most illustrations and stuff, a bad composition with a really good like figure or something that's really beautifully rendered just won't look as nice because you had a bad composition to present it. So we'll do some of these and then we'll see which one is worth pushing forward. I would argue that I could close off this space. Come on, snow. Feels crowded now though. Maybe we do it to this one. Yeah, it feels a little better. When you're doing this, you're thinking about rules like rule of thirds. Not on every one. I think well, definitely not on this one. Sometimes I'm just trying to go at it and see where I'm thinking about the division of space. So I was like, I wanted this space to be more. Hey, 4. How's it going? I think that's something I have to study, Terror, because there's I mean, there's a lot of different things that you can use. Hey, Scribble Mouse. Right, to make a composition. So rule of thirds is just like one tool, but there's all the principles of design. I feel like I have to study those as compositional tools individually, almost like isolate them, try to study them and understand them, and then bring in other pieces. Doing fine working from home. That's nice. I'm working from home too. So for this one, yeah, why not? We'll break it up into thirds? No, Jesus, not quite. Nope, that's not enough. So that would be roughly thirds. And we could think about it this way. I never really... The snow melted away this week, but today we got lots of new snow. Oh, dang. Today we've got lots of rain. We've had it for the past couple days. It's terrible. Alright, what do we want to make here? do. I feel like the rule of thirds is trapping me. Maybe I need to get rid of it. Just think about it in my head. Or I can leave the little endpoints here. But yeah, that's another thing I'd have to study, I guess. Hey, Chris. How's it going? You seem to be very energetic. Uh, Watching, listening to perfect music for the session. I love it. Energetic because I'm reaching new goals. Oh, that's awesome. Watching video like yours always help me a lot. What are your new goals that you're reaching? If you don't mind me asking, you don't have to tell me. Oh, wrong side. I gotta think back to my theme here. Hey, what's up, Joby Spider? I'm sorry if the pose exploration is boring, guys. Or the composition exploration. Shading for me was always a headache. I realized the only thing that held me back was my strict mindset. After 2 years without drawing, I was expecting the same good results now, but guess what? Every single drawing was a mess. And then I learned recently that I need to unlearn, so I returned with the fundamentals of my drawing. Here I got better. That's awesome. Hi, Zephyr. Oh my gosh. This is rare. That's the proper spelling of Zephyr. I think, right? Wait, there we go. Yes. Yeah, when I originally came up with the name, I was like, everybody's gonna spell it this way. What looks right, even though it's wrong? And I added the ER. Proper, I thought Zephyr was a word or something you made up. No. Zephyr is the Greek god of the west wind or something like that. Gotta go with the odd spellings in the MMOs. LMAO. Yeah, exactly. It's exactly it. Yeah, because otherwise it's taken. Zephyr. Oh, okay, I didn't know you could spell it that way. Zephyr. The Y. But yeah, Zephyr is a Greek god. Probably have different spelling. 400 different spellings, yeah. Now the way I originally, when I found my like gamer tag, it was Arc Zephyr. I was really into Diablo at the time, and Arc came from Archangel Tyrael. If you play Diablo, he's an angel, an archangel. And then I thought his design was just so cool. He had these wispy wings and everything. And then Zephyr, I was really into Greek gods, and Zephyr was a god of wind, and it kind of meant freedom to me. So, like being able to fly and be free in the wind, kind of thing. So, the angel of the wind kind of was the idea, Arc Zephyr. And I would always pronounce or capitalize the A, so like that. And then when I wanted to come up with the idea of the whole art stuff, I was like, Zephyr still means freedom to me, so I'll just name that with the ER, because that way people won't get it confused with the god. Zephyria, yeah, I do know that one, but those are taken too. Zephyr typically is not taken with the E, the way that I spell it. But I feel like people have caught on now. It wasn't originally like taken a lot, and now it's taken. So I generally always have to go with Arc Zephyr. Although I have found that taken before, which is frustrating because that is my own creation. No, 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 not mistaking me for a Greek god. I mean, if I made making this into like a business kind of thing, turning it into Zephyr, I didn't want like if you search it on Google, right, you're gonna get the Greek god in the search results instead of the art school or something. if that's what it turns into. So, and I believe there's like another company that spells it the way that Zephyr in here does. That's like me. If you search Zephyr without the ER, there's it's a ventilation company. And if you search it with the E, Google thinks that you are making a mistake. It's like showing results without the E because you're dumb. And I'm like, no, search instead for Zephyr. And then you find only me. Well, mostly. The first results are me. So that's why. Not that I thought that people would get me confused with a Greek god. It's more of like a search results thing. Something search results optimization thing. Yeah. I mean, Zephyr was already the way that I spelled it, so I was okay with that. I'm just waiting for the day where Google thinks that it's the correct search that you put in and doesn't think that you made a mistake. Ah, that will be the day. Let's see, I've been cutting off the head the same way every time, so. Let's just go no head. Maybe I can divide the space up first. Let's do it like that. Pretty sure if enough people Google specific spellings will be picked up as a legitimate thing and not a typo. Yeah, hopefully. One day. This is incredibly difficult, I feel like. Not really sure what I'm doing. Learning composition, I feel like, is one of the hardest. It's the most important thing, but it's also one of the hardest things to do, just because there's a lot of tools available for it, but a lot of it's not like you could look at compositions all day, the same way you could look at anatomy all day and not really be able to draw a good composition yourself. Yeah, exactly. It's simple but so hard at the same time. It's deceptively simple. Like you can make a decent looking composition. Shouldn't say that you can't get anything good. But the difference between like my shitty composition here versus like somebody who really knows it, the arrangement of shapes and negative space and all that is just so much more refined, and that's to be expected because I've studied it more. But studying it is hard because, like you said, seems simple, but there are a lot of pieces. Like you have to know all the principles of design. There are artworks I've made that people really like because of composition I didn't even realize I made. Yeah, you can get happy accidents, as they're called, which is great. Let's try that method again. I love how you align the horizon with the golden rule. Yeah, sure, I did that, yeah. Oh gosh. It's just so much more difficult. There's not a whole lot of books that really cover it. Um, in a way that I would like. Creative illustration is probably the best that I've seen. Framed ink is another good one. Two very largely different approaches. Framed ink is all about like the value-based approach of composition and making shapes and telling certain moods and stuff, which is all valid. And then yeah, they are very cinematic. Like, he doesn't do pin-up art, you know? It's all movie scenes, which is great. Like, you need to know that too, and it will help you even with your pin-up stuff. You're becoming more sensitive to composition. Yeah. I guess what I'm trying to say is it feels like you should be able like it seems super easy like you said, like you should be able to understand it quite easily, like it's just this simple arrangement of shapes, but there's actually a lot more that goes into it, and studying that can be kind of difficult because they're kind of, I don't know if ambiguous is the right word, but they're kind of like elements that you just toss together, like unity versus variety or something. Like it's not a it doesn't feel like something you can really grab onto and be like, oh, I'm gonna add more unity to this. Hey Zoe. We're making some compositions for figures, kind of like cropped compositions. So I guess maybe ambiguous kind of works. I don't know. For sure is better at compositions that can like guide the eye through the picture. Those seems more difficult. Those I feel like are almost, well, depends on what kind, right? Like the compositions where you got like a landscape, right? And you're trying to guide somebody's eye through the composition. People always do this shit, right? It's just go like that. Toss in a couple of mountains. Maybe you even have like a little trail up in there. We'll go like a little castle. Toss in a cloud. Boom. And add like a foreground leaf. Right? And probably like a person. This is very concept arty, by the way. Ugh. Those feel not too hard. The hardest part with these, which I'm not good at, is proportions. Making sure things are the right size depending on where they are in the picture frame. I always have difficulty with that because I don't practice environments all that much. So, but making it feel like there's a what did you say, guides the eye through the picture, that's not so hard. When you have stuff like this and you're trying to guide your eye through the picture, that's a little bit more difficult because you're thinking about like, okay, there's this, and they come up the arm and out the other or like this, I know that it's sort of going like that, so that one is okay. This is actually why I kind of like drew these lines. It wasn't just division of space, but also to help me get a flow on things. So now I know kind of goes out like that, right? It probably actually needs to be a bit bigger. Thing for me is mainly characters in a setting with more surrounding elements. Like the ones Zootopia posts, there's a ton of characters, but it's balanced in a way that guides the eye nicely. Terror, follow the road, yeah. That's how a lot of like concept art stuff is made, or environment art. There's a lot of follow the road art, I guess you could say. Not everything, obviously, that would get really boring, but don't be surprised if you see it a lot. Definitely a good trick for students who are learning. I'll probably use it when I get to more environment type stuff. Zootopia poster, like the main poster that they use. Are you talking about this one? Top left one, most interesting composition wise. Yeah, I like that one too. That one was a decent one. Yeah, so we can see why this works so well. I mean, your first read is gonna be, oh Jesus, I need this. First read is Zootopia, clearly, because it has the most contrast and it's the most like clean. So what they're doing here, what is this called? I'm gonna need to open up my, I had this one class. I need to like put this file somewhere so it's easily accessed. I had this one class that was all about color and composition. It was so good and I didn't appreciate it at the time, which frustrating. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to find it. Oh, color and composition, here it is. Up. There's a specific word that I'm looking for. I don't know all the principles of design by by heart. I think there's a couple more, but it's harmony or unity, contrast, rhythm, movement, balance, dominance, and space. Hi, Arrow. So a couple things here. They're using contrast. Usually if you've ever seen a really detailed character, right? The face is like a resting spot. Like they'll have super details all over their clothes, right? And the face is big enough where it's just kind of this clean, and then you have the eyes. And it's a very clear read because this is like a resting spot. So what they're doing in this poster is making this all busy so that the clean areas here and here stand out the most. So, and then obviously this pole helps drag your eye down. So you start here. This pole helps drag your eye down, so you go here next, and you know to look for the fox, which is lit in a way that makes it stand out. So you get the read here, which once you read here, you see that this huge crowd is here, and you go up, which is why they have the giraffes here. And then you're boop back to probably now noticing it's a Disney movie, and you're back down here. And then it just loops. And you may, notice little things like, oh, he's cool, boop, boop. And you'll see all this little detail. But this is the general. Your eye starts from the giraffes. Let me get the line out of the way. I mean, it's possible that you're seeing that. I promise you though, if you had like a visual heat map, you more than likely start here, even if you see you, because you might start here and then it pushed you to look at the giraffes, right? Because this is angled, so it's not always going to be like, you're not going to be able to know. You have to sort of logically work it out when you're thinking about this stuff too, because your brain is moving really fast. You're not going to always know subconsciously that you looked at this first. You're going to feel like, oh, I looked at these guys first, when really it was this sign that pointed you over, and you looked at the giraffes and it felt like you looked at them first. But really your subconscious was pushed by this line to look at them first, right? And it can go the other way too. Like you see Zootopia, you go here, you cross down that way, and then it brings you back up. Right? It works in reverse. It's not one size fits all. Like some people don't look all the same way. It happens very fast. So it's not like you're thinking about like, oh, Zootopia, slowly, the giraffes coming down here. It's because I'm left-handed, isn't it? And yeah, that's another thing to think about too. Some countries read left to right or right to left, so their thinking just moves them in this direction versus this direction, right? And you do have to think about that. Usually in something like comics. But if you do a good job with directing people's eye, you don't really have to worry about that, because you know the viewer will know where to go, because that's where you push them. Hi, Lucy. Hi, Jack Fellow. I never understood these composition stuff. My eyes always go to the point where people say, yeah, people will look here last because reasons. I do be going against the current. Like I said, your eye's gonna go everywhere. This stuff happens quickly in your head. It's a lot of like subconscious thinking, but this is it's designed in a way that helps your subconscious take in the whole image. You might consciously be like, oh, all I do is look at this guy. Right? And that's true. Like, he has an interesting face, he's cute and everything. But like, even they account for this stuff. Oh my god, I'm using the eraser. They account for this stuff, right? That is why his phone is going like this. Meant to block you so that your eye pushes back out. Right? Same with these. All of these guys are in shadow right here. It's meant to stop you from going outside the picture frame. This is empty because it's meant to bring your eye in. Once you start seeing this stuff, it's really not that hard. It's just designing it yourself is obviously more difficult. But it's a good composition. My art teacher Weber tried so hard, but just didn't land in my brain. I'm gonna try the Fibonacci wiggly next. Might end up drawing a bunch of snails. I start with the sign, then go to the draft. I think it's the main characters last. And that's okay. It's not necessarily needed for you to look at the main characters. They want you to see this. It's a new Disney movie. Because Disney alone has its own power to pull you in than a random ass fox that you know nothing about, or a bunny you know nothing about. They care that you know it's a Disney movie. That's it. This is just like icing all these characters. This is what they want you to care about. It's well designed. It's a good composition. Yeah, no, it does its job. It's a good poster. Whew. Well, that gives me hope. G. Obama says, book helped me a bunch too, by the way. I haven't been past chapter 2. G. Bomas? What is that? Oh, this is a life drawing book? Does he talk about composition? Yeah, if you want to be an artist, you gotta be good at composition, because that separates the art beasts from the I do not know why I erased that first line. That was like perfectly straight. I need to stop hovering over Control Z. It's a serious problem. And just switch between the eraser and the brush tool. Okay, here we go. Published anatomy books heavy enough to kill a man. The Anatomy Bludgeoning Weapon, the huge book. Not at all, but it helped me with drawing people. Well, that's good. Oh, Zoe, sorry I didn't see. Your art has got better. Now I'm using old art brushes. So far I like it. That's cool. I'm glad that you're finding some fun things for yourself. Ryuzaki, hey, how's it going? Yeah, but composition is really important. You definitely have to hone in on it. It's something that I really haven't practiced all that much. That's why I made it a part of this project, and we will do very basic stuff with it, which is really just focusing on line and the breakup of space. Hmm. Which is challenging enough on its own, you know? Weird experiment. Shoved everything into the corner. Oh man, 4, you know what I realized the other day? That not only were you right about me having to draw bigger, but like, I actually think it was hurting my development. And I'm being like a dum-dum and don't realize. Like, I started noticing, I was looking at one of my favorite artists, and I was watching her draw. I noticed how she was like doing these like quick changes between this, and it seems so fluid. This looks like a mouth. Hello. And I was just so confused. I was like, there's no way I would be able to do that on a tablet. Like, it looks way too fluid. And then I saw she was using like a 27-inch Cintiq or something. And I was like, that makes a lot of sense. And it made me start thinking, I think what, like, or it made me think of you, because you originally said I needed to draw bigger, but I was like, I think he's not just right. Like, I think I've also been hurting my own development, because every time I draw, right, especially when I was drawing tiny on here before, if you guys were here the first couple streams, like, I'm drawing heads like this, maybe this big now. God, I can't draw a friggin' head. Boop. Let's not. I'm just gonna draw terribly. Just ignore this. Oh my good grief. Right? And I'm trying to draw bigger now. But if you were here in the first streams, you know that I probably was like drawing maybe a little bit bigger, like this. Right? And now this is now. Whoop, sometimes even a little bit bigger. And this was before. But guys, on my tablet, this size, realistically, I'm drawing a head like this big on my tablet. Maybe like that. Right? This is not good. I'm probably, I mean, let me see. I'm gonna try to get a, it's gonna be a little bit bigger. I may be over exaggerating. Hang on. Trying to get, okay, so it's probably like this. Sorry. A slight over exaggeration. It's probably this big. This is tablet. And this is the screen. So when you're supposed to be training your arm, right, to God, can I draw this? Let's see. This may not go well. We'll just right. You're supposed to be training your whole ass shoulder to move. And then you have tinier movements in your wrist and then your fingers. You don't get any of this. You just get finger action here. Hi, Quacken. Yeah, I've been drawing for ants this whole time. And then I realized how much is probably hurting my development because all I'm doing is making like tiny ass finger movements. And that's not bad because you need to learn that too. But it's making it so that I can't make these big marks. So if you have a tiny tablet, I don't know why I didn't realize this till just now. Draw big because you're gonna hurt yourself in the long run. I think. I do think that you can still draw on everything in the right sizes, but when you don't need to be drawing like an ant. I don't think this helps anyone. You're gonna have to draw tiny background characters, but this is why you can struggle with details and stuff and making like cool like things that require a lot of precision, like maybe cool eyelashes and stuff, right? When you're trying to draw like an ant on your screen and you're trying to draw these little cool details, it's gonna be hard as balls because you can barely move in any direction. Right? You can do that when you're here, and that's the problem. So now that I know that, even when you're writing, it's still trained to use your whole arm, so you have extreme control. Unless you're ant-sized. What I said about big art meant to viewers only see a small drawing. Yeah, no, I know that. I'm just saying, like, I understood. I took more away from it, from what you said, than just like we're seeing it as small. I was like, oh, I'm actually drawing small too. Because the reason why I was drawing this small too is because this is kind of how big I draw my sketchbook head sizes usually. But again, I'm drawing on my tablet, which is this big, and it's showing up on the screen this big. So I'm actually drawing much tinier. So I suppose I have to thank you for kind of getting me to that conclusion, because I didn't realize that I was doing that. And now it kind of makes me want to get like a bigger, I don't have the money for it right now, but it makes me want to get like a bigger screen tablet, because I want to be able to move my whole ass shoulder and just go and make nice big marks. That's why I really liked figure drawing with those 18 by 24 pieces of paper. I drew the figure really big on there, and it's fun to really like get your shoulder in there and really make big circles or ellipses and really get in there with big marks. It's a lot of fun. So when I can, I will definitely be getting a bigger tablet. True gamers draw with their whole torso. Oh god. Use the shoulder for bigger lines and wrist for small details, something like that. Yeah, it's like shoulder for big marks, which is not really a lot. Then a lot of it comes down to, like there's a little bit of elbow action, but a lot of it comes down to wrist, fingers. So Heard about these points years ago. I made conscious effort to learn to use my arm 90% of the time and only use fingers for really fine details. Yeah, exactly. That's how it should be, Quack. And it's kind of, you draw, you do all the big stuff. This is like all your shoulder. Which doesn't last very long. Honestly, this is the quickest area. Then your medium stuff. It's kind of like it takes more time, I think. Like a medium amount of time. And this is like elbow, wrist, and then the finer details, which can take a long time. These can kind of be a little bit of a mixture, but this would be fingers. I only draw from my elbow like a noob. I don't intend to go for a large canvas. I have been trying to get used to rotating the canvas. I did it once yesterday. That's a good point though, for like, I try to treat digital work as closely to traditional as possible. And traditional work, you can turn the canvas, you can turn your piece of paper and draw, so you can get those better lines and then turn it right back. Yes, even digitally. I've seen a lot of artists do it actually, and for whatever reason, I don't need to do it right now because these are just compositions, but if, like, I'll go back to this head. Like, if you get a hard time, your arm is like pushing into you, trying to get like a good angle so that your wrist can like really give it the flick it needs, like, frickin' turn it so you can turn your body away from, or turn the thing away from you and get that, you know, sexy line in there the way that you needed to, and then turn it right back. And then bam, you got that line, and you didn't have to like smash your elbow into your torso to get it out. Yeah, it's definitely pretty much for line art. I mean, there's going to be some instances where you're trying to make like a nice clean brush stroke, maybe like a lot more mechanical stuff or something, and you'll want to turn it, but it really does have to do more with line art. Exactly. It's for the comfortable, not just comfortable, but also like I said, the angle of certain things are just not, you're not going to get the same beautiful curvature because you can't leverage your wrist the right way, right, to make the mark that you're trying to make. I always turn my canvas. There's some strokes that are easier in a specific direction. Rotate, flip, zoom out. Nice. I've been a subscriber for a short time. I saw a video once. I sub a fellow Zephyrrific artist. We have a second Zephyr as a treat. Yeah. She just joined us today. It's serendipitous. I hope the conversation's good today because I'm not making like the prettiest drawings. I'm trying to just sort of feel out composition, and I know it's not as exciting. So I hope y'all will forgive me for not having the most exciting stream today. There's some stuff that we're gonna have to learn that's not exciting at all. Kind of boring, actually. Until we get to the good stuff where we can actually create our own compositions and make it interesting. It's good, I'm following along. Jackfellow, I think I draw more from my wrist when I'm using my tablet. It's not a problem when I'm on paper. That's good. Ryuzaki composition is awesome. Yeah, I like it a lot. Some people just I think they get bored with looking at other people's compositions. And I'm not an expert, so it's just we're learning and looking at it together. It makes so much sense when you try to break it down, but trying to do it yourself is just it's hard. Is that you? Okay. Can't just be 100% gas all the time. True. That is true. Can't be doing the cool shit all the time. Sometimes you gotta do the boring stuff. I was hoping to get one to actually bring forward, but right now I'm not super happy with any of these. I made a handful in Clip Studio a while ago. Some of them I was actually happy with, but where do you get your refs for the images here? Well, there's no reference. I'm doing all this from imagination right now, Zephyr. I try not to do 2 study sessions in a row, mostly because it's good practice. But yeah, yesterday we studied eyes, so I wanted to do imagination stuff, even though I knew it would be a struggle. I don't know, or I'm not as practiced in composition, but there's bound to be highs and lows in streams, kind of like life, right? Yeah, exactly. Drawing a snail, so all good. Scribble mouse, nice. Oh, I see. That's something I like to work as well. Yeah, I did so many studies for so long that it became like a trap of not being able to escape them. Like, my studies ended up being so good that, you know, anything I tried to do for myself just looked like complete buttocks in comparison. So maybe we should do it like a super duper close-up. Try something. I feel like I don't know anatomy well enough to just draw a dope leg. That's it. There's a composition. Legs. But yeah, I got trapped in. It's actually not bad. I don't hate it. I'm gonna leave it. I did studies for so long, it just like trapped me in them because I everything in comparison was bad when I tried to do stuff for imagination, so it made me want to do more studies, but those weren't actually helping me improve. And then, I got frustrated and left art for a while. And then when I came back, read books about how you learn and stuff, and finding out that learning is not necessarily studying. Like, you have to, in order to really learn something, you have to be able to recall it. And I wasn't giving myself the opportunity to do that. It was just only like studying the book. And I so I tried to take that to heart, and now at least half the time imagination, and as I get better, that'll decrease more and more and increase more imagination stuff, less studies. Hi Domino, how's it going? Stabilization is helpful in cases like that. Just be careful you don't lean too hard in tools like that. I actually did go down a little bit of stabilization rabbit hole. I think it was because of you quacking, because I was like curious. Yeah, I think you had mentioned it before. And so I looked at some of the artists that I like, and how they deal with stabilization. And one of my favorite artists actually had it turned on, and I was shocked. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna go look at the stabilization for each program. Photoshop, it's called smoothing. And see if it makes a difference. And it didn't really. I think I've been so used to having it off, that it's not really making much of a difference. If you guys are curious, like, that's a non-stabilized line, and this is stabilized. It makes like a slight difference. Like, you can see one is a little bit smoother than the other. But it's not enough for me to like need it. And I'm making a big line here, so like you also have to be careful, because I guess it drags the tail end of what you're doing. There's like a slight delay. It actually looks like it's not doing it too bad over here. And then if I turn that off, kind of just like removes the wiggle. And I don't necessarily know if it's like something I need just yet. Because I know, the digital tablets aren't perfect, but it feels weird to use the stabilizer. I don't know. Maybe I'm being too strict with myself. Hey Lillian. Yeah, I like Paint Tool Sai a lot as well. I feel like it's smooth. I just don't know, like, if I use the stabilizer, is it sort of naturally auto-correcting the oddities of using a tablet, right? Um, Basically, you want it so that if you were to pick up a piece of paper that you didn't have so much stabilizer on, that your drawing on the paper is all like, and then in with the stabilizer in the program, that same line gives you that. That's a huge problem, right? But if you're drawing that on paper and it's just like a little bit, well, let's actually turn it on, see what happens. It's just a little bit smoother. It's almost barely noticeable. Is that so bad? And then is it gonna affect you if you like move to another medium? Like, I know for sure that when I was doing that little Cinnamon Toast comic, whenever I had to ink it, I would use the stabilizer in, I think it's called stabilizer, but it was in Procreate, and that thing is heavy duty. Like, my lines were not nearly as nice. Like, they'd be kind of all wonky, and the program would be like, and it was great because I was still not great at the time, and I needed help basically to make it look nicer. And it still didn't look like the greatest, but it was better than what I could have done on my own. If Sai had a mobile version, perfection. I know, especially considering the cost. My goodness. I mean, Procreate is great because it's cheap as hell. Procreate is pretty much the version of Sai that you would want, but I don't know how it works, as if it works as well as Sai when it comes to painting and blending. Probably, I would guess no, but I shouldn't judge without trying. Yeah, that's why I think it was only Procreate stabilization was only turned on the like the calligraphy pens, which is what I used to ink. I don't think it was, or at least as far as I know, unless it was turned on auto, which was the case in Clip Studio. I didn't realize there was some automatic stabilization just already turned on. I think it was the case for Paint Tool Slide as well. I think it dropped it down to 0, but it was on like 2 or 3 or something when I first had the program open. I'm slightly worried the younger generation that are over Procreate might lean too hard on the program. Not my problem. It's not going to be an issue. If anything, Procreate has made a lot more people get into drawing. I mean, he has a point, but I would argue that the I think Clip Studio is a little bit more guilty about giving tools that are gonna hurt artists, like that 3D pose tool. Like that's gonna hurt so many. You don't realize how much that stuff. Like, sure, you use it um, uh, to get like work done. You know, you have a deadline, you're trying to get work done. Sure, good. But your actual improvement with poses and stuff, if they're always given to you, you're never going to be able to come up with that stuff yourself. And again, uh, it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just about how much freedom you want with your own art and how much control you have. And depending on the person and what their goals are with art, that can be really detrimental. Yeah, the Korean webtoons use that a lot. It's all, they're using 3D models on Clip and they're just tracing on top of them. Their faces, the poses, everything. That's why they can crank out so many of them. They typically get a lot of their environments from 3D models. Like, it's just everything is drawn over something. Oh god. Did they add AI to their stuff? That's why I like Psy, because it's such a simplified down version of everything. You don't need all the fancy stuff. And it's just like helping you get good at just using the tools that were available uh, back in the day, kind of like it's just raw skill that you're trying to improve rather than, you know, trying to figure out which layer mode or filter or AI thing will fix your painting for you instead of like you doing it. I don't know. That's interesting. I didn't see this before. I don't know what this is. Whatever that is. It's more of it takes colors and smudges it around. That sounds helpful. Hmm. Alright. Let's do something different. Drawing from a pose from below. That was hard. Um, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. Clip Studio, it's probably, if it's not AI, it's probably a matter of time. They're pretty much following in Adobe's footsteps ever so slowly. Starting their little like subscription. Like they'll slowly roll out this stuff so that you're not too uncomfortable with all the changes, right? Photoshop's got generative AI now and their stupid Firefly nonsense. But you know, I have to use it for work, so I can't like not use it. It's kind of annoying. I hope just, you know, the lawsuits take care of these stupid AI programs, but there's no guarantee. They might decide that their thievery was totally fine. Don't worry about it, Jack Fellow. I'm sure you'll be on here like 3 months later. Like, it happened. The AI happened. Clip Studio, they did it. Yeah, at this point, there's so few companies that I trust. Everybody's turning into greedy gooses. It's music. Go back up to the top. Bad, actually. It's crazy because the music industry, a lot of people are allowed to use AI to make beats. Uh, yeah, the music industry is very finicky. And it also, there's a lot more protection and a lot more like, there were a lot more laws for musicians, I feel like. I mean, they still, don't get me wrong, like, I think Spotify is screwing over musicians right now and everything, but there's a lot more protections and laws for musicians than there are for just regular old artists, drawing and digital artists and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, that's bullshit. Um, God damn. Yeah, that's bad. That's not cool. The concept of royalty for music started because of record labels getting accessible. Musicians who used to work as performers at clubs and restaurants started losing gigs. Yeah, I saw someone on Twitter who said we should, for artists, they should have made a system where like they would hire us to create characters and stuff for like movies or shows or whatever, and they got a license to use those characters for the shows. And I was like, that's a brilliant idea. Do it. Because you know what sucks is like Disney, places like Disney, they have like a vault of stuff that you will never see because they just want to hide it in case they ever want to use it or whatever, of artists that have made tons and tons of work that you will never see. And it's incredibly sad because there's gorgeous work. Let's try to do some compositions like this. Oh my, I had the same thought with licensing the rights to use characters. I think it's a good idea. Why should they get to lock away an artist's work in a frickin' vault somewhere that's just so shitty? Like, there should be some like stipulation in your contract that says if they don't use it for a movie in like 10 years, you're allowed to share it. 10 years is a little long. Maybe 5 years. Like if the project goes bust, they're allowed to just bring it out. Oh, for sure. There are a lot of other jobs that are threatened by AI. I'm not trying to minimize it in that way. I'm just saying, like, that's one way that we could have had more rights as artists, is like having more control over all the crap that we create for these studios. Like, we literally have no control. It's there, even though the artist thinks up the whole character, you know. I mean, there's a storyteller and all that stuff too. But they have zero ownership to the idea. Whereas, like, other kinds of, like, music has more rights to their music. Music does the same thing with license out their work. Yeah, exactly. I don't know the ins and outs of, like, law and stuff, but it just... You know it's not... It's scummy what they do. Like, it doesn't take a genius to realize that it's a very unfair system that takes advantage of people. I just hate that we even have to, like, do this with such abstract concepts like an idea of a character. I mean, it would be nice if everybody just played nice and did things with, like, ethically, responsibly, and with kindness, but, you know, we do not live in that world. It's more like the everybody's trying to exploit you world. So you have to cover your bases. Like, I think I mentioned yesterday, like, I'm trying to get this sponsorship, and they've actually been very nice, considering some of the horror stories that I've heard. But we're trying to, like, there are stipulations in the contract that, like, if you have a contract and stuff is ambiguous, like, it can set the stage for very dangerous territory. So you need to make things specific, or as specific as possible, because ambiguity in a contract, if there's ever a dispute, will go to the person typically that has more money, because they can, you know, pay a lawyer to do whatever they need to do. And if you're the poor schmuck that signed the contract, you know, if you don't have the money to defend yourself, good luck. So I gotta make sure that the contract is all sound before we move forward. A lot of artists get taken advantage of in that way because they don't know that they need to do that, or they don't read the contracts, or they don't make a contract at all, which is an even worse thing. It's true, a character concept artist seeing the big names like Tetsuya Nomura saying his characters he loves aren't technically his. Yeah, There you go. That's a real good example. Who's the guy that basically makes Shigenori Soejima? Is that his name? He makes all the Persona stuff. I have his artwork. Shigenori Soejima, yeah. He makes all the Persona stuff, but it's basically his entire life's work turns into a game. Like, he's the primary artist on everything. If you've seen the Persona 5 art book, it's the thick, like, Bible of his work. Nobody else's, it's literally him. Yeah, the Persona artworks. It's so good. I could show it sometimes, but it's kind of at the bottom of the stack, but I have the Persona 5 one. So gorgeous. But it's all his work. Best solution is to just do like Flipline Studios or cram all your OCs into the Papa's Pizzeria Flash game universe. Is that what they did? That's funny. This is gonna be a challenging pose. Don't know exactly how this should look. It's not what I wanted. So, yeah. I really don't know how to make that work. There's a gold mine in the Bravely Default 2 book. Tons of concepts for future characters. Yeah. Yeah, no, you're right. Don't throw away any art. It can be useful for future stuff. If you do, you know, personal work. If you're just doing studies, it's not really helpful, which was what mine was a lot. Pretty much 99%. So there's nothing to pull from except other people's stuff. Old cringy art, found some of mine today. That's nice. many failed sketchbooks, I'm scared to look into it. If so many sketchbooks they need to be filled, I will not fear the sketchbook. Yeah, don't fear the sketchbook. You guys can do this. I make quite a few of these. There's only like a couple that I like. These all are very good. This is what I mean. I've been out of practice with composition and definitely need to bring it back because it's like, again, the most important thing. This one's cool. It's not really much of a composition. The pose just looks good. This one's not bad. This one. This one. Huh. You just got a new one yesterday? Oh, that's cool. Y'all make me want to doodle in my sketchbook. Crap, open the cobwebs and bugs. Painted a pretty sweet snail. One Fibonacci win in the bag. Nice. Speaking of old art, remember those human-faced animals? Human-faced animals. Oh, am I touching this? What is happening? There we go. That's pretty sweet. The snail, yeah. Human-faced animals, I don't know. Oh, like the Sphinx, right? I was thinking animal-faced humans. Well, we tried, guys, here, and definitely learned more composition. I feel like I studied more composition at the time, but I had, I wonder if it's in here. I had done better previously, but again, we've been away from composition. I should do something where I like try to study each sort of principle of design. They're really not that much better. I think I'm imagining things. There's one that I really liked before, and that was it. That I'll probably bring to a finish. So yeah, this is the one. I can bring it in here so you guys can see. Probably won't be able to do it complete justice, but this was one that I did in Clip Studio a while ago, so I definitely want to bring that to a finish. And then maybe this one. Maybe this one changed a little bit. Not bad. Alright, guys. I think I will leave it at that. Tomorrow, we'll be back. We're gonna do some more of the Lego Fortnite as our art break. I think we're gonna be building our base, and that should be fun. And then Friday will be off, and Saturday we will be maybe we'll study composition on Saturday. That would be a good one. I'm not sure quite how to study it beyond just copying compositions. Like I said, maybe we'll have to do isolating each principle of design and like trying to make compositions based on those principles, like unity, repetition, things like that. I think we did that back in school, but this time I'd actually be putting them to use. Got a hashtag for sharing art? Not yet. Any suggestions? I wouldn't be opposed to it. You can always just send it to me. But I suppose that's a good idea. Because you guys sometimes do art on here, like Snail from Scribble Mouse. No, not Sphinx. Search really old art. They drew cats with human expressions. Really uncanny. Interesting. I mean, if you've seen that meme, we basically turned cats into anime people, so it's come full circle, I guess, or we just made it better. Yeah, you could even leave a comment in the video, Zephyr, if you have a idea for a hashtag. Um, that won't get flagged, right? I don't think so. But that's a good idea. We should come up with something. I can't think of anything right now. Wait. Sock headphone. The sock headphones will eventually be gone. Terror. Oh god. I can't wear socks on my head forever. To try studying framed perspective. You mean the book Framed Ink? Or just like framing perspective? Haven't studied it yet, but I heard it was pretty good. I think you're talking about Framed Ink then. But yeah, it's good. It's just, we were mentioning it before, it's a little more like focused on cinematic poses and the divisions of using value to create specific moods and things like that. Marcus Mateo, yeah, that's Framed Ink. That's a good book for sure. He's very knowledgeable and is very good. So I've definitely looked at that one before and studied it a little bit myself. Since we're doing figures and it's more like pin-up poses and things like that, I'll probably stick with what's his name? Andrew Loomis's creative illustration, and then trying to use the principles of design to apply the different knowledge that he has. Have that book, should read it again. Yeah, it's a good one. Where would we be posting? I don't use social media besides YouTube and Discord. I have junk accounts for other places, maybe. Yeah, that's a good point. I don't have a Discord anymore, so I was thinking potentially Instagram, but can't really post art on YouTube. You guys are making good, excellent points. Because I did want this to sort of turn into the Discord community. Because you know Discord scrapes for AI now too, so I don't necessarily want to support that by having everybody posting their art and getting it scraped on Discord. You know, Facebook is scraping art. Everybody is, really. You know, if there is a safe place, I mean, if you do that glaze thing, that Discord, yeah, a while back, it was one of the things that made me pull the trigger on killing my Discord, because I was like, there was the larger reason where I was like, I didn't really have time to dedicate to the Discord channel, and I felt bad, and I couldn't like upkeep it in the way that I wanted. And then I heard the news that Discord was doing the AI scraping, and I was like, okay, that's the thing that kills it for me. Yeah, I mean, maybe I need to make my own forum. Is that even possible these days? Would people still use that? Or what about Reddit? Could we make our own Reddit thread? I've seen a lot of streamers use Reddit as a way. Does Reddit scrape? Anybody know? Pretty much any corporate platform is scraping data for AI. Well, yeah, but at least with Reddit, you could glaze it, use that glaze program. Um, you could do that with Instagram and stuff too, I suppose, Twitter and everything. But if Reddit is more appealing to people, uh, yeah, I've seen streamers use Reddit and they just like go down the list and they'll like look at people's posts on stream. I don't think I can give up Discord now right now. I didn't give up Discord. I still use it to play like video games with my friends and stuff. I just didn't want to be a platform for artists where they were sharing all their work and it was getting scraped by their engine. So that's the only thing. Like I don't necessarily want to support it, but there's literally no other thing to use right now to like chat with people so easily or through games. It's Discord. I mean, so you kind of it's the same with like our just the world we live in, right? Like you're a participant in this shitty capitalistic nonsense that you can't escape, but you still can criticize it and try to make it better, right? So we do that with Discord, you know. Again, hopefully the lawsuits with AI start to take care of some of this stuff, but we won't know that for a while. So we have to do what we can to protect our artwork and the community. Yeah, I have glaze, time to use that. I haven't had to glaze any of my work yet just because I don't have any finished work yet, but we're getting there. Or I don't have any finished illustration work that would be worth glazing. There's a Fediverse equivalent to Reddit. What is Fediverse? It means you get to host your own server space. It also means you decide what gets scraped or not. Fediverse. What is that? I have so many whips. You gotta work on that. Jack, fellow. You saw my newest video. It's not that I have so many whips now, it's just that I'm studying and working and completing this stuff. And I'm sort of working my way up to a full illustration. So we've been doing like figure painting. And one of the next things that we're going to do, there's 2 more figure paintings, and then there's going to be a full illustration. You can finish them, man. Fediverse is stuff like Mastodon. Oh, okay. I think Reddit would be okay, right? I mean, they're scraping every website, right? So it's not like you have to choose what you want to use and then try to protect it with things like glaze. Even if I had like my own forum, right? They would still try to scrape my website. So if they wanted to scrape my half it's junky looking. Yeah, no, I have no worries about people scraping my artwork right now. I'm trying to protect other people. And maybe you feel the same way about yours, like it's not worth scraping at the moment, but it will be. Sure, we could upload stuff to community Google Drive, nothing bad could possibly happen. Yeah, Google's definitely scraping. They said that they were scraping from your Google Docs, so that's messed up. They're probably just stealing straight from our drives. Like, I would not doubt that 100%. What I learned about that whole, like, how they do Google searches and how they change it in the background on you, I was just like, okay, I don't trust them. And they did say that they're scraping Google Docs. Google Docs for AI. Yeah, it's from The Verge. Google confirms it's training AI using scraped web data. Assume that, I mean, like Forrest said, just assume that every major company has probably got its claws into AI in some shape or form, and that nothing that you post online is safe anymore. So the most we can do is try to defend our stuff and don't post like high quality pictures. And although with AI upscaling now, like even that is tricky. So again, you have to work within the system, and like we can't just like not post our stuff for us to see. We to share it. We want to share it still. So I wouldn't worry, Jackfellow, that they're gonna like steal your writing. Like there's so many people, like they're not going to be able to, they're using it to train things, not to like steal people's ideas. Although that wouldn't surprise me either, but I wouldn't worry about that so much. There's just too many people, like, that they would have to sift through to find anything good. Like it's just no, it would be impossible. Yeah, it's the current hot thing. They want to figure out how to monetize it. The data they already have. Yeah, they're not worrying about stealing people's stuff. They're just worrying about, or excuse me, they're not worrying, but they're just trying to figure out how to monetize this stuff. Which is basically just scraping everything and selling it to the nearest AI. Everything you've written from the time you were a wee little teenager is being scraped. I'm sorry, Jack. It's okay. We're all getting better. Um, but we're just trying to figure out ways to defend ourselves. I do like the idea of a Reddit thread though, so I mean if everybody's not opposed to it, that might be a good way to do it. But I'll think about it. I'm not sure what I want to do just yet. For now, if you have something you want to show me, if you have Instagram or something, or Twitter, you just send it to me directly. And I'll take a look. Alright guys, I'm gonna hop off. It was fun streaming with you guys today. Again, tomorrow's an art break day, so if you're interested, come stop by. We'll just be hanging out. You down for the Reddit thread, Ryozaki? Good. Okay. Well, we'll take a poll in like the community chat and stuff. See how people feel about it once I figure out a couple solutions. Take care, Quacken. Bye, Zephyr, Ryozaki, Jackfellow, 4. Quacken, I already said bye to you. Used to use MS4, but then ants ruined my hard disk. I lost a terabyte. Oh my god. Bye, Akil. Bye, Terror. Sorry about the ants. Have a good day, guys. Bye-bye.